nasty dominant dog and it's taken over, and people bring those dogs to me, and these people don't see this. If we put that on the internet, people like me, people would go, oh, you don't deserve to ever have a dog. But guess what? I turn them dogs round and turn them into fantastic dogs.
Exactly.
I can't put that up because I said to other fellow trainers, you know what we have to do.
Yeah, but you're the only one that's ever had the balls to put anything on, and that's why that old man on the chat one day said you took a bullet for us.
Yeah, that's it.
I tell a story because you know about like this thing. I went down to Derby, and we took our dogs for a run and stuff, and it was New Year's, and was in this park. It was absolutely rammed, and I was just running around with Ada, and she was going a bit far, so I blew the stop whistle, and then I went to walk towards her, just put the lead on her because we were going home, but she moved, and I picked her up on the spot and corrected her, and Betty's like, we're in the middle of the Derby. I was like, yeah, but I'm not worried about doing that. If someone's going to come and say something, I say, look, it's my dog, and it's not actually anything wrong with it. I was in the middle of, at that time, I was in the middle of doing the stop whistle there. Yeah. So I thought, if I let her get away with it there, it could cause problems again, couldn't it? So I thought, I know I'm in the middle of the park, but I thought I still corrected her at that point because I thought I've got to be consistent. And then ever since that day, she's never moved.
But this is the whole point. But it's like, if I wanted to start placeboard training this dog here, I'm going to change the mindset on it straight away by having it human influence control into the dog. If I just allow the dog to learn to want to be with me because it's more fun than being in the kennel, where would you want to be? With me.
Yeah, of course.
But when you're in a situation with a pet, and you've got to, and we've got to show people, even with a pet, there's got to be time out. Time out is like lovely, in the cage, under the table. So it's seeing everything happening, and if it whines, you don't go to it, but you take it out, you let it run around the yard for 10 minutes, let it have a pee, and then you put it back in, leave it in there for a couple of hours, then put it back out again, and say to the dog, that's the place to go, out there, not in there, and just educate it gently.
Yeah.
But when it goes in a kennel, if it craps in a kennel, don't never punish it.
No.
Don't never get funny with it. And it's got to go in the kennel because that's where it's going to have its water and food.
Yeah.
And I don't care if you don't eat for the first day, but as soon as your little confidence comes up, you'll start to eat again. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying about dog training. Dog training is knowing how to balance life with you and your dog.
Yeah.
It's not the pup comes into your life and now takes over.
No.
That's the difference, Daniel.
That's what I say to my partner, because last night she was at her mum's, and when I'm at home, Ada's fine. But if I'm not at home, and obviously Beth is in another room upstairs asleep and Ada's downstairs, because obviously Ida's not there, like this morning, so she was up at half 5 because she was barking. But she never barks around me.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's because you let him walk all over you.
Yeah.
Even though we both...
When you get home, you're going to get domestics if you talk about this on camera, or your missus be alright?
No, it's fine.
I'm just saying.
Not a problem.
Because everything you say on camera, you're living in a goldfish bowl with me at the moment, and everything you say on camera, your missus might go, when you get home, I'm going to stab you with a pair of scissors.
Well, to be fair, she didn't watch me anyway, but I don't think she'll be bothered. Like I say, I'm only saying like it is. She messaged me and said I've been up since half 5. He's been barking.
But what I don't want to do is I don't want to have to edit all this footage. We're going to just put it up in its entirety.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because I like raw footage for people sometimes, and we need to sort out why it's got not loading down through the Patreon first.
We're doing that today.
Yeah, we got to. Why? Because then, as we're working out there, we can be loading videos then for an hour, and it'll be loading the video, and that's what I do. People would say, he must be sitting on that computer all day. No, I'm not. I'm out training. But I go in, load a video, and it takes an hour to download. I'm talking about 40-minute, 50-minute video.
Yeah, it's not.
It's easy. When you look at these clickbait channels, what do? Everything's a 2-minute video, 3-minute video, 5-minute video.
You're not giving the full thing.
They're only interested in traffic. So if they put up 30 videos and they're 2 minutes and you click, guess what happens? You're moving up the monetary scale. Where people watch it, they might only get 3/4 of the way through it and say, that's not for me. I've got a 9-month-old dog. But some people will sit down and want to learn the psychology of bringing a dog on from the start.
Yeah.
Right. Question I want to ask you: when you brought the dog down from, you had how many hour drive?
I altogether was in the van 5.5 hours.
5.5 hours. Did you stop and let the pup out for a pee or a poo?
I didn't because I didn't know if like what people's views are. Like I maybe should have rang you because obviously know if really it's the second injection.
You not had an injection.
That's what I mean. So I didn't know what it'd be like if I was to let it out. So I literally just I stopped like once or twice for a quick wee and just tried to plough all the way through.
Yeah. So what I'm saying to you, did she play up in the car? Did he play up in the car? No.
He cried altogether because he was just going the other time.
Yeah.
I'd probably say he cried no longer than a minute for the whole 5.5 hours.
Did he shit and piss?
He didn't shit and piss, no.
Amazing, isn't it?
No, and if he come over to me because he tried jumping on me, I just picked him up by the scruff and put him back. I was just like this driving.
Yeah.
And then after about 4 or 5 times of that, in the end he leant over the seat where the seatbelt is and was just snoring a little bit.
Yeah, just snoring, yeah. But why didn't you put him in a cage?
I didn't put him in the cage because...
Why didn't you leave him in a cage?
Because I've never really... Because I know people got dog boxes. I didn't know what people... I've never really known anyone put in a van before, and I thought...
Now, I must stress, Daniel had a harness on in the front.
Yeah, and it's connected
and it's clipped on, it's connected to the seat,
yeah,
so the dog was clipped in. So what I'm saying, it wasn't just on the front seat and he was picking it up and putting it back down. I thought when I saw him, very sensible, got a harness on it.
Yes.
Me personally, I would have put it in a cage and I'd have just travelled down with the cage. And what I would have said is, because Alan's got horses, I'd say give us a little bit of horse dust shavings, put them in the bottom of the cage, put it in the van and just drive. I know the dog might start crying because it's all new, but turn the radio up and off you go. And if it does piss and shit, we took a dog to Jersey, a puppy, 8 weeks old like that, and we took a dog to Jersey, and I think it's a 4-hour ferry trip, and it's a 3-hour trip down to the ferry, and we took the dog in the back of the Nissan that I used to have. We just put shavings in there, and it's not in the cab where you can smell all the freaking smell if it's puking and all that, right? When we get on the ferry and that, I look at the dog was okay. Well, when we got across and it was quite rough, we got off, went into customs, and they checked because how many dogs are coming in, and you have a stamp on the car. And I said this dog's coming in for a customer. Then they tried to tax me on it because they said it's coming in for a customer and you have to pay import duty. I thought, oh shit, I didn't know this with this, right? If I said it was my dog, I wouldn't have had to pay anything. But I say it the way it is, you know. I sold the dog, so it ended up it cost an extra 60 quid or something for tax duty just to bring it in. And what I was going to say, and then when I got the dog to my mate's place where I was staying, opened up the back of the car, and that dog would have been in that car for I think 10 hours, not one thing. We put them on the plane to go across to Texas, 10-hour flight in the hold. We've had them laying in pee and crap, but there's nothing you can do about it. You just got to get them out there. Because on the plane in the hold you can't do nothing with them. No. But if you think about it, a puppy will sleep in its cage if it's not a dirty pup and not mess. If you take it out in the morning, you've got to have sort of 7-8 hours sleep. You can't get up every fucking 2 hours and take the dog out. But the idea is, it's educating the dog, isn't it? Yeah. And people say to me, what would you do if the dog peed on the floor? What would you do if it messed on the floor? The old-fashioned method used to be rub its nose in it and fucking throw it out in the thing.
I've done that in the past, I admit it.
Yeah, or put lots of newspaper all down and let the dog pee and poo anywhere on the newspaper and gradually decrease the newspaper to the point that you put it to the back door, and then the last piece of paper is outside and the dog will go outside and mess on the paper. That's the old-fashioned way. No one used to freaking worry about all the psychology of oh, it's got to have a 3-hour run. It's got to have a 3-hour run every day. If you give that puppy a 3-hour run every day, it will mess its joints up. Yeah. It needs to grow, develop, and sleep. Eat. I said on the video before you come in, I hate puppies. I don't like puppies, but I don't like small children. Why? Because you're having to do something for them all the time. But I'm not being nasty. No. I'm saying, if you've got a busy life, a pup is a commitment. Yeah. But it's how you bring them on. And if you want to create a spoiled child, give it everything it wants. Yeah. If you want to create a spoiled pup, give it everything it wants. Because that pup has had to learn to switch off, but it's been with its brothers and sisters, and this is a big shock to it. That's why it keeps running into anywhere it can tuck itself in. And look at it, look. It's looking, it's listening. It's loving life. It's watching telly.
Yesterday it was just sat up, his head around. Yeah. It was funny though, because when I got in the car, obviously I don't think since I've had her, she's not seen a puppy. I don't know if she's seen a puppy, actually, a baby, since she's been a grown dog. So
how come you've got your gloves on, Daniel?
Oh, I get really, really like, my skin just rips off in my fingers. So I put some of this O'Keeffe's working hand creams on, and then I put gloves on so that it soak in.
Right.
I just wear them all the time. If I don't, it's just like raw skin at the end.
Oh, what a shame.
I know, it's annoying. I think it's worse at work as well, because I can't really use gloves because I have to use my touch phone to deliver.
Yeah.
So I cut holes out my thumbs.
Yeah.
On just like magic gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, Isla, she got in the car, the van, and then she was looking at Quinn like from the side like that, and then Quinn just went, and you go like that, and then just jumped on the back, and I just went and shot straight into my window. And then all the journey, she laid on the footwell and didn't look at her.
Yeah.
Every time she got up and seen her, she went like that again. She was scared of Quinn.
Isn't it funny that a puppy doesn't have that fear with another dog?
Yeah.
And yet the older dogs, like, yeah. But I mean, once she's settled in, I put her in with a bitch of mine, and she'll mother her a little bit, and then she'll get used to it. But he'll soon get used to one.
Oh yeah, of course. Like, it's totally different today than yesterday.
Yeah, without fail. So anyway, that's enough for everyone. The reason that is, I free feed. I don't know what Alan's done. I'm not rubbishing Alan in any way. Lovely little pup. Not scared of its own shadow, but it's got a softer side to it as well, I can see. But it's lovely. It's exactly what I thought I'd be getting when I looked at the picture.
Yeah.
And I thought, I can pick that one. And I was quite surprised that one didn't sell. This one didn't sell.
Yeah, because I thought, because a lot of people like the solid heads, don't they?
Yeah.
It's the most common.
And the trialing boys like a lot of white in them. Most people that I have, the shooting people, like a lot of dark in them.
Yeah, I watched that.
I like a flashy dog. I mean, Wiz has retrieved thousands and thousands of birds. We've been pigeon shooting. You know, he was a spitting image of this, as in markings. But I had Wiz at 5 months old, and I went to Wales to pick him up, and he was a nervous wreck, an absolute nervous wreck. Took a year to get him out of being a nervous wreck. I don't want this dog to be a nervous wreck. I want this dog to realise and learn to cope with pressure from the very start. Pressure means don't do that, there'll be a consequence. But look, it's just a beautiful little pup. If you couldn't fall in love with this, and you don't like dogs.
No.
But when I said on the video I don't like puppies, it don't mean I don't like puppies as in they are beautiful. They sell themselves. Puppies sell themselves. Same as little babies, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not very often somebody turn up and go, fucking I see that baby, it's ugly as shit. Most people go, oh, isn't it lovely? Isn't it lovely? Oh, a lovely little pup. Can I stroke it? Can I have it? Ow! You little shit. You just bit me in the foot. And at the end of the day, I make nothing of it. What? Ow! You little shit. The dog will stop. Why? Because it doesn't want me to shout. But did I hurt it? But I did punish it. Right? I'm overacting. It's not really hurt me, but I don't want the dog doing it too much. But it's a puppy. It's a puppy. It's a puppet. It's a little
I'm like
puppet.
you when you said about puppies, because I just, like Isla, obviously she was 16 months old, and I've watched that video where Tony said the same thing, didn't he? He likes to get a dog at 12 months. It's already grown, and then, like, with it being a mature, well, not mature, but it's a lot.
Why did he say that?
He said, because Tony said on your video that with a pup you don't actually know what you're going to get. When
Yeah,
it's
right.
12 months old, you can see it in.
You
Like
did
when I
right.
saw Isla, I was
You did
like,
right.
the drive.
But do you know what you're getting at 12 months old? This is the difference.
No, I don't think you would you?
No, hang on, you're missing. It's a question I've thrown at you. This is where me and Tony will disagree. Do you really see the pup at 12 months old? You can see potential at the dog at 12 months old, but sometimes that dog can be not the same dog because of human intervention. Human intervention, someone who's changed the mindset of the pup. I would rather see a complete wild dog that, as long as it's retrieving, it's got to be retrieving. Not worried if it don't bring it back. As long as it's retrieving, it'll carry it. Then I can do a lot with it. If I've got to wait 3 months to get it to deliver, because at 12 months old it won't retrieve at all, it won't pick nothing, you're going to take a longer period to train that dog. All I say to my customers is humanise the pup. Don't teach it to sit, just teach it to retrieve and come into you the best you can. Then bring it to me at 8 to 12 months old. Perfect age would be 12 months old, but problem is most people will put a few faults into the dog by trying to rush things. But give me a wild dog at 12 months old and I take it in the field and it hunts like that dog, yes, that dog you saw in the video. I turn them dogs into superstars. The hardest dogs to turn around are the ones that have been suppressed or got no desire to retrieve.
Have to unscramble them.
Then you've got to unscramble the mindset, and especially the ones that have got hunting like humans but not retrieving, because they'll just blink stuff, and that's why you have to be honest. But what happens is, I can tell you this, and I'm not going to mention who it is, but I will tell you a story off camera, right? But I've got friends, right, that you've seen on the videos that have probably gone through 150 dogs, and only 7 of those dogs have made it in trialing. That's some record of going through those dogs for an independent person who's not a full-time dog trainer, doesn't do it for a living, does it as a hobby, still makes money out of it. But I'm telling you that I could point probably to 5 or 6 trainers that I know in a year might go through 6 dogs by doing exactly what you just said. Tony said he liked a dog at 12 months of age.
Yeah.
Why? Because other trainers have trained them, fucked them up, and everybody's going around buying fucking dog after dog, and it's like you see that trainer with that dog that month, and then 2 months later you see another trainer with a dog with it, and you think, hang on, that's so and so's dog. Now I bought it off him, and then he's flogging it because he's got a problem, and it's been sold 5 times across the circuit of dog trainers because it's a reject, really.
Yeah.
But they were all trying to get the money back. See? So if you start paying £3 for a freaking dog and it's got noise, you're going to run it for an hour. When the guy comes around to give a demonstration, it's a good dog, mate. Look at this, and stop on 6 months, do this, do that, do this. And then you buy it, you think, oh, I love that. Then when you get home and you give it a couple of days off, then what happens? The drive comes up, and you take the dog on game then, because you don't take your dog on game straight away. You've had your demonstration, take it on game, cast it off, and he goes, whoa! Right, and you think, bloody hell. Bloody hell. You know?
Yeah.
And so there's so many con people out there.
Yeah.
But there's some wonderful, wonderful trainers as well. And it's not my job to name those trainers. Do I? You bet I do. Off camera. Someone comes here and they say, is this guy an honest guy? If he ain't an honest guy, I say, please don't tell him, but I'm giving you the truth. I wouldn't go near him with a barge pole, but I wouldn't name it on the internet. Why? Because good businessmen don't act in that way. You don't act in that way. And I've never said something spiteful about another trainer. I've only ever been honest. You know, there's a difference, isn't there? You know?
Yeah, big.
There's a big difference. Sometimes some people have contacted me and said, what do you think of this bloke as a trainer? I said, I'm not giving my opinion. Why? I don't know that bloke. I don't know the bloke who asked me that question. I'm talking about people who come through that gate to pay me for my lessons and my knowledge. I give people it straight. But far more is off camera than you can imagine.
Yeah.
Because it has to be. It has to be. Because you'd have a bad name in the dog training world, because they'd be able to turn it against you and say, just look at his videos, he slags everybody off. They've not got that. They've not got that. They've got a couple of people I've slagged off. They're people who've done things to me blatantly, and that's different. And that's why I think I've got a little bit of a reputation of, he's a stand-up guy. What he says is what he says, but he doesn't shit on people. But would I promote good trainers? Straight away. Someone says to me, I'm thinking of buying a dog from so-and-so. You couldn't just give me, would you trust him, Chris? If he's a good guy, I say, he's a stand-up guy. I've never ever had a problem. I've never heard of anyone making any bad comments about him. Now in this dog training world, people make comments about other people and you've got to take it like a pinch of salt. But when you keep hearing the same person coming up I went there, or I bought a dog and it's da-da-da and da-da-da, and I tried to take it back and he wouldn't have it back. If a good dog trainer is good and he sells quality, if you don't like the dog within a week or 2 weeks, I think he's obliged to say, listen, I'll give you your money back. I might keep 100 quid for because you've had the dog and you've messed me around, but I'll give you the rest of your money back. Because that way, people will trust you. You know, I say to people, listen, have it for a month. If you're not happy, pick up the phone and tell me. But if you come here and you haven't got a clue, and I sell you a good dog, I said, if you mess it up in that month, then I'm going to be deducting some of the money that you're bringing back. So it's as simple as that. Are you sure you want the dog? But if someone was genuine and said, look, he's just not settled in, you know, the other dog's not happy, I would...
Because it happens sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah, because I'm there and don't want to upset anybody. I don't want bad feedback. And I know that fallouts in 35... So everyone. And who said I don't give dogs puppy toys? I do, but I don't leave them with them. The noise that thing's making, and it presses and it talks, and the puppy wants to rag it around, it doesn't matter. It's teaching not to be afraid of something. We've got a nervous breakdown now. So the dog's not deaf.
Didn't know what to do. He was alright at first, and then he's like,
So that's the dog's first duck, everybody. And you think I'm doing this just to win hearts and minds? No, I'm not. We've had this duck for years from one of the kids when they come here, when they were youngsters, grandkids. And we found that young dogs sometimes stand off it and are a bit scared of it. And if they get used to it early and knock it and it makes a noise, look. Flashing lights, gets them used to everything. But don't come to me for the security. Isn't that lovely?
I'm a duck.
This is the nursery. This is where we have little dogs and we bring them on until they can go out in the big wide world. When will I take this dog out? I will take this dog out when it's about 4 to 5 months old and it'll be running with the pack and getting knocked over and banged and just become one of the members of the pack. What have you learned, Dan, about the pack? Now we've run your dog with my pack. The first time we ran with the pack, tell everybody on here what happened.
She fretted a little bit and was obviously around my feet. And she wanted to go in and wagging her tail, but she wasn't like tails tucked between her legs. She was just looking ahead, wasn't she?
And then she was confident enough within a couple of minutes.
Yeah, and then when we got the tennis ball game out...
Then what did I actually do? I actually go back in the house, get the tennis racket and get the ball, knowing that she loved tennis ball and the ball. And what we did, we just tapped into the game and she just joined the gang, didn't she?
Yeah, and that's it. And now when she goes out, she just flies out there with them.
And she comes out and she knows, hang on, this gang can be trusted.
Yeah.
This group of dogs can be trusted.
They all sniffed her, and
yeah.
once she had a sniff, they walked away.
Yeah, and they didn't plague her or jump her on her, did they? Or bully her, you know, or dominate her.
No.
And
it's nice to be in a pack, isn't it?
yeah, a balanced pack it is, but not an unbalanced pack.
No.
An unbalanced pack is no different than a naughty playground full of naughty kids.
Yeah.
If one kid's naughty, if all the kids are naughty, and you bring a good kid into the playground, he's going to be naughty very quick. If you do it the other way around, and you've got a better class area and better class children, and there's less bullies and fighting and rough heads, sometimes you get an easier life in one of them schools. But in a hard area, like in a rough area, you get thrown into those schools, you learn to defend yourself a lot quicker because it's a tougher life. And that's exactly the same with the mafia. And that's why, you know, Corleone Gundogs, and I had to take a name years ago. Well, the mafia come across from Sicily and they were poor, and the only jobs they ever got was in back of hotels and cooking and stuff like that. And so some of them turned to crime, didn't they?
Yeah.
And from crime, they made massive amount of money. But you've got to understand people's background, where some people say, oh, I'd never do anything illegal. But if you can't put bread on the table for your kids, you might take a backhander to do a favour and turn a blind eye where you let somebody else rob a lorry that you're driving. In them days, that's how people survived. They paid the mafia, they turned a blind eye and said the van got robbed. But at the end of the day, not everybody would do that. People got principles. But I think as I've got older, I've got far more principle than you can imagine. But in my younger day, I know what it's like to have nothing, completely nothing, and end up in a crappy bed sit in the middle of a fucking crappy area where everyone's smoking drugs and drinking and fighting, because that's the only rent you can afford in the poor areas when you've got no education behind you. And so you hang around with the wrong people in life in your early days, you end up in trouble. And I say to people, these dogs have kept me out of trouble, because as soon as I fell in love with gun dogs and I got a gun, I had to start being sensible, because you don't keep a gun if you're not sensible. No. And I'm telling that story, and I'm telling it because I'm not trying to be a big head and say I was a gangster when I was a youngster. I wasn't, but I was a silly little idiot who thought he knew better and the world owed him everything. Yeah, but that's what we want. I don't make nothing of this. I don't slap the dog down. The dog's got to explore and learn things, but the dog's got to switch off as well. And the dog's got to learn, and this is what it's doing. This is going to be the most important time for this dog, this 10-15 minutes of doing this every day, then having it round you all day, and just becomes a freaking nuisance, because it'll just switch, and after it's burnt some energy, it will sleep. We will put it into this box in a minute, and if that bloke comes and it's noisy, we'll put it back in the kennel. And it can cry in the kennel if it wants, and it'll learn it, get nothing for crying. Yeah. And so we're educating the dog from day one, but we're not training the dog as serious training. Okay, Karen, any questions?
I was going to say, like when you do it this way, like doing a kennel, and then when they're with you, it's like, whoa, I love this.
That's it.
Whereas when someone has a pet in the house, and they've got all the things going on, especially when they've got children at like
without
a table, it ruins dogs. Whereas if you have a dog in this situation, when it is with you, that's nine times out of 10, but when you go in the field, the dog won't move your side anyway. Yeah. Because of all this.
And every time somebody comes to your door with a pup like this, and it's just human nature, everyone wants to go, can I hold it? Can I hold it? Can I? Oh, isn't it lovely? Oh, isn't it lovely? That's lovely, I understand that. But I have to cut all the emotional shit out and treat the dog like a dog. Yeah. And then the dog sees me as a leader and it follows. Because at the moment, I've just came out of there for the first time and the dog followed us nearly in. Yeah. But I'm going to use the food bowl and the shaking of the food, the noise of the food, and this noise. There you go, that's all ready. That means come to me before I give verbal cues. Because that's the same, the next thing up is on the whistle. So we move from, and that's a distressing noise, like a rabbit being slightly distressed. It means come to me, come to me. So I'm talking to the dog in simple format, and every time I make that noise, that dog's going to get something positive for doing it. So it's going to come racing across, and you think he's trained it already. It just happens. It's magic, isn't it? It's simple.
If people that was saying they brought Springer for a pet,
yeah,
if they brought it up in this environment for the first 6 months, I think they would have a better pet in the house.
Without fail. Because then the dog learns to switch off. Because it starts off in that. The worst thing you can do is have a dog in the house and then go, right now I'm going to have it as a pet, outside dog. Why? Because it's not used to it and it'll pine for you. But guess what? You can do it dead easy. Do it in stages. Build yourself an outside kennel and put it out for an hour and then bring it back inside the house. And then do it for 2 hours and then bring it back and then increase it to the point you can leave it out overnight. It sees the kennel as its own home, its security. Where the dog finds it very difficult to adjust is when the dog is pampered in the house big time, and yet with a young dog, especially if it's winter time, really cold, I'd bring him in a little bit more. The environment plays so much, the weather plays so much difference. I won't let that little pup get wet out there. No way. But
love his little tail.
Yeah, he's lovely, isn't he? But I think he can smell food. Right, if you pick the two balls up, because he's now gone off them.
And the dog.
No, don't worry about the dog. Just the ball. I don't mind if he rags that a little bit.
Whatever half is, half down.
Yeah. All I'm saying is we pick them up, put them back in there. Oh, steady.
Yes, sir. I'm not
going to do. The dog can smell this, and the dog will follow the food. But what I'm going to do, he's looking around for it now, look, and I'm going to put it in here for him, look. You might not see that. Look at this. Now he's going to get in there and eat his food. So he's going to see that as a positive in there while he eats his food. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put him in there. There you go. And I want him to eat that food in there and memorise that when you have food, you can have it in there, and then we're going to put him back in the kennel. But look at him, look, and it's a wet mix, and that's the way we do it. Never put milk in there because it'll turn their stomach with young pups. Cow's milk will turn their stomach. You can give them goat's milk. It doesn't upset the stomach, goat's milk, but there's no need to. There's in the food there's enough protein, but we're adding water to it so the dog can lick it. Now, the dog had a massive bowl yesterday, but look, the appetite's coming back now, and the dog's going, yeah, I like this. This is all right, this stuff. And I don't want to leave it in there. I'm going to give him 10 minutes, and then I'll go and put it in his kennel and let him run around again for 10 minutes. So when he goes out to his kennel, he's got food out there all the time then. So next time I go out there and find an empty bowl, because look now, he's stopped. Look, and you keep going back to it, and then we're going to open it again in a minute, but he's not allowed to come in, run out, run in when he wants to. We're saying to him, we'll feed you in there, and then you can come out, but we'll take the food off you. Look, see, freaking, he's a determined little bugger, isn't he? Don't you break your teeth. I know that you've got baby teeth, but he wants to come out. So, as soon as I just need him to have some food and fill his little belly up, and then I don't worry about eating the other food, because I like to free feed my dogs, my puppies, so they can eat when they want to. And then what I find is they don't become greedy pigs and gulp it down and become aggressive with food. Because if the food's on tap all the time you want it, there's no need to fight for it, is it? So you don't get any aggression. But each person's, it's different, because if you've got cats or you've got other dogs, there comes a point. But I like to feed my pup like this to begin with. Look at him, look. I bet you'd all want to pick him up, wouldn't you? Look, hey! You shouldn't shout at pups, should you? Bollocks. You can shout at a pup if he's doing that on the cage. What? Because you want him to stop. But you're not going to beat the cage, you're not going to hurt him. But at the end of the day, it was just like, oh, what happened then? So every time he puts his mouth around that cage like that and he does that, if you raise up the ante, hey! Right? He's learning already for association of discipline. Right? And he won't be doing that all his life. So now what I'm going to do, he's had enough for a minute. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to open it up and take the food away. It's important I take the food away. There you go. That's your job, mate. You're not having it. And he's going to now run around the room looking for the food, because he can still smell the food. And he's going to go, where is it? So he's going to come to me, and I'm the feeder. I'm now going to be his mother. Look at him looking for the food. So what we're saying is, no, son, you had your chance to eat it. I wanted you to fill your belly up. So by doing this to him, we're playing two games. We're saying, you can have the food, but you'll have it out there. Look at his little face. He's hunting for the food. We've actually got the dog hunting. Look, he's using his brains. He's trying to work things out. What do you think? He thinks I'm the feeder. Well, I am, aren't I? So sometimes what you can do is this, everybody. There's that noise. Make that noise and put the bowl down. He comes to you for the food. So when you actually go out there and go that noise, he knows it's food time. So you're leading him to the food with that noise. It's so basic, and yet it works a treat. When he stops, we take it away, because he's a fine diner. He's not a pig. How many pigs does it take to get rid of a body? An average sized body?
2.
No, 16
Yeah.
in one sitting, to get rid of it in one sitting. But the finest way of doing it is chopping the body into 6 pieces. And that is where that quote of greedy as a pig comes from. So that's what they used to do. If they want to get rid of a body in the mafia, they'd have a pig farm with lots of pigs on the pig farm. So if they want to get rid of a body, they chop it up in 6 pieces. It'll never be found again, because they eat everything. Right? And that's where the thing comes, as greedy as a pig. Now, how do I know that? Because I'm a world of information? No, because in the film Snatch, that's what they did in the film Snatch. He said, what you do, lads, you roll the body up, you chop it into 6 pieces, and that's where it comes from, as greedy as a pig. But it's true. It's actually true. Oh, you little bastard! He's done a shit. I've been caught out. Look, everybody, he's done a shit. You can actually video this. Look at that. Oh, you dirty little bastard! Honestly. So never punish him. right? He don't know. To him, this stonework is the same as out there, and that's why I built it like I did. I built all this, everyone. I built this conservatory myself because I wanted a little office for everyone to come into. But we got a customer coming in the next 10 minutes, and I'm sure you don't want to smell shit in the conservatory. So we're now going to put this little shit back where he came from. How dare you shit in my house? That's the first naughty thing you've done. No, second. First one was running under the freaking. What's it? Right, Dad, pick him up, take him out, back in the kennel. With don't drop him. He's my baby. All right, you've already stood on him with your big feet. Yeah, put him out in the kennel. Make sure the kennel door's closed, and then I'll clean that up and disinfect it. Right, well done. Yeah, so little Harley's been in the kennel all night on his own, and he's come out and he's joyful and he's happy. He wants to see humans, and he ate well last night. He didn't eat for the first 2 days very well. We didn't force him. We give him mints, and then we give him a wet water mix of dog food, dry food, but watered it right down. So it was like when he start to wean the puppy, they start off with the mother doing the food, giving the protein and all the dog needs, and then all of a sudden, about 5 or 6 weeks old, the mother says, "I've had enough of this." Some people leave the bitch on longer, some people take them off about that age, but I would have had them weaned by then on a sloppy mix of dry food with nothing but hot water in it. Never give them milk, it upsets the stomach. But the little dog is coming out of itself beautiful now. Those noises I'm not worried about in the slightest. That's just puppy noises. That doesn't mean that dog's going to be noisy. But what that dog mustn't get, every time it jumps up, someone to pick it up or stroke it too much. We've got to humanise it, and there's nothing wrong with Dan having the dog on his lap if he wants. There's nothing wrong with it, because what the dog's doing is getting used to humans. So Dan is doing me a favour if he picks it up at this stage, but I don't want it being pampered all the time, all day. Else it becomes attention seeking. It's learning there's a place to switch off, and Harley Quinn even got in that cage on his own, didn't he, and settled down after he'd had a run around. Yeah. And I'm going to feed him in the cage with the food in a minute. And what we do, we get the bowl of puppy food and we put hot water on top of it, boiling water. We put boiling water on the top of it, quite a bit, and then what we do, we put a plate over the top of the bowl so that the steam drops. It's very fast then, and it mushes up like Weetabix, sloppy Weetabix. And as they get older, they can have dry food, but it's good for them because they're getting water inside them at the same time as having their food. Because some pups don't go for the water for a day or two. But he ate a big bowl yesterday, and he's come out a different puppy this morning. Now, for the last 2 days, because he was out in the kennel, every time I jet sprayed, I don't want to frighten him in the kennel of the noise of jet spray, we brought him in and put him in the cage. This morning I jet sprayed because he's got to get used to noise, he's got to get used to everything. Look at him, look, he just wants to be loved. Because he's been loved, he's come from a lovely, lovely family who love their dogs, love their horses, love their animals. And sometimes you're better off buying off a dog that you know the bitch. And because I trained the bitch, and a lot of you people saw the videos of Jess when she was a youngster and she was here, and you saw, I've got the videos of Jess and I've got videos of Harley when I had her here training her. And you saw how brilliant she was, and I said I'd love a pup out of her, she's a cracking thing. And she's not got lots of red in the pedigree. It's not always about the red, it's about the quality. I've never heard her, I've never seen her not wanting to hunt, I've never heard her make a noise, and I thought I'll have a pup out of that. And so my sire produced the sire of that puppy, but Alan owns him. He's a black and white dog, and Alan owns him, and that's generations of the Corleone breeding, so I know the quality's there. So what I've done is I've taken this dog back now as a pup to train it and show you on the internet from a puppy right through to a trained dog. We're going to make the dog a superstar. Everyone's going to see this dog grow up and turn into a little superstar, right? Warts and all. And if things go wrong, you'll see it. And I'm going to concentrate on this dog as to show you. I'm still going to be loading everything else I'm trying to get back. I've still got lots of stuff to do, but you're going to have to bear with me. The channel will grow, but like I said, I'm a one-man band. And it's been absolutely fantastic that Dan come down. I was actually pulling my hair out thinking I've got that shadow student here, and I've got so much to freaking do, I could wish him not being here. But when he turned up, it was like a breath of fresh air. He's been so helpful. He's keen to do anything. He's offered to do kennels, he offered to do anything. And that's the way you get on in life. If you offer and make yourself available, and it's been a pleasure for him to come down. How long have you been here now? 3 days.
3 days, yeah.
3 days, and I think he's enjoying it. He'll be able to tell you at the end of this, and whether he's gained experience from it. And I can tell you this, everybody, I'm not a money orientated person, but I need to earn a living, and I've given enough away. But I can tell you this: if I was wealthy, Dan's paid me. If I was wealthy, I would gladly give him his money back for the help he's given me. But I've got to earn a living, and I appreciate what he's done, and I think his mother should be proud of him. His mother should be proud of him. He's a nice lad. He's keen, wants to learn. You know, sometimes I tend to shut up because he seems to waffle and go off in one direction. But we're all different. I'm crazy as well. We're all crazy. I like crazy people, and I take people on merit. And he's been very, very helpful, and he wants to please. He could keep his hands. But as you can see, Harley Quinn is loving it.
You're loving it.
And we're going to shove this video up now for you all to see. But we've been videoing already a lot of videos about Harley Quinn, and they are going to go up in a section, and we will put the section there for Harley Quinn, so you can learn how to train a dog from puppy right through. We leave the gate open on purpose so the dog can go in there when it wants to. As soon as the food has cooled down, you never give the dog hot water on the food. You let it cool down, and then you top it up with a bit of cold water just to cool it down. And then this dog will come into this box, feed in this box, and think this box is a great place to be. And the reason we do that is because they've got shavings out in the kennel. So keep the dog clean, the shavings pick up the crap. And what happens is we've got a place in the kennel that he can eat, so he'll have non-stop food in the kennel when he's out in the kennel when I'm not there. So he'll put on weight really well. Because sometimes a pup, if he's small, he don't get in with the food with a big litter. And sometimes it takes him a little while to catch up. And because he hadn't had food for 2 days, he ate like a blinking pig last night because he's got his confidence back. This is where they're cheeky monkeys. They're running all over the place. Right? You can't punish them. You don't want to punish them in a nasty way. If he messes, never punish him. You just wipe it up, but you don't make nothing of it. You don't scold him. The old-fashioned way of scolding a dog for messing in your house, no. But will I have a dog shitting in my house? No way at all. I just take him outside. Every time he does it, just take him outside and put him outside. You're telling him what you want him to do. But at the end of the day, he's been in his kennel. Hopefully he's had a crap. And he'll realise that box he doesn't crap in. He sees the box as a positive thing. But will he be in that cage all his life? No way. But for the first few months, it's so important. He sees people walking in and out for 10, 15 minutes a day and gets used to humans. And we humanise him. And we go back to the tennis ball. Watch. Look what we've been working on. Pass again, you didn't see it. Drop it there. There he goes. Harley Quinn's playing football. Harley Quinn's going mad. Harley Quinn, here we go. Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn. There's Harley Quinn. We're getting used to carrying. Harley Quinn's on the roll already. See? From that day there, it's so important that Harley runs around with it and you don't grab it off him. Look, and he wants to see that movement, and he's picking the ball up already, look. Look how fast. And that's so important, everybody. That is your foundation of what's so important. That's what we need to show you. Look at him, look. He's a little proud little bugger. He's loving it, look. But don't take it off him. Let him run around with it. Let him think, oh, there's a movement. I'll pick it up again, look. When he gets bored with it, take him away. It's important, take him away. But look at him, look. Look. He's a natural. He's a natural. And everyone goes, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to sit, you got to wait. No, let him be a dog. Let him be a puppy. Let him grow up. Anyway, I'm sorry about the mess in here. Normally it's a bit cleaner. That's what Dan's job this afternoon. Multitasking.
Yep.
No, I'm joking. No, he's here to learn. He's not here to clean. But I can tell you, everyone, for the last few weeks, I've been working solid. We've got some unbelievable news. Things are going to change drastically around here. But I'm gonna wait and make sure it's happening first. But I've been told some news yesterday that is going to change me, Sue's, and everybody else's life who watches the Corleone Gundogs. And I think it's going to be for the better. I think it's great news. It's actually good news. We've actually had some good news for a change. And when I say good news, you might not think it's good news, but we took a gamble when we came here. we didn't know what was going to happen with that field out there. And at the end of the day, some of you know because you've come here and I've talked to you about it, and so you can guess. But keep that to yourselves for a minute, because I want to bring. Yeah, look at that. And that's all you need to do, Dan. That's all you need to do. And it's important you give that dog 5 minutes of that, and then take it off it. Why? Because it get bored with it, and then you not want to do it.
Every time it to be amazing
for 5 minutes,
and not get bored.
And remember that game again. The same as when I feed this dog in a cage, it will go straight in the cage as soon as it comes in, because it goes, that's where I get fed. It'll actually tell me I want to get fed.
Yeah.
So in here, it's got to be fun. It's got to be playground. It's nursery time. Nursery time.